What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to talk about sharpening the Ruike P801. A couple quick things I just want to put out there. Thanks to all you guys per usual, subscribers, Instagram followers, any new guys that come along the channel. Want to give my usual shout outs to Outpost 76, Patty Potato Peelers, In the Pocket, Banner 24/7, Super Steel Steve. Thanks to my my handful of guys that stuck by as the channel started growing, and that continually post comments. Dom Bond, Mike Likes Knives, KME User. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There's two guys named John that comment all the time. I won't give their last names out, but I know their last name better than I know their screen name. Just wanted to thank all you guys. If you like the video, give a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And let's get started with the P801. This is the Ruike, or Ruike, as Shabazz likes to say, 14C28N. It's a flipper, stainless steel. I just did like a mini review on it, or like overview. I've had this for quite a while. The edge is decent on it, but it's not stropping back as nicely as it was at one time, so I think it's time to put a new edge on it. I haven't sharpened this that many times, maybe 4 or 5, and I've had it for quite a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kill the edge. And I'm gonna start with the Sharpen Pro or Sharpen Hano Kurumaku 220 grit to establish our bevels, which they're already established, but just to raise the burr. Two guys I forgot about, Jeff Jewell and KK Knives Switzerland. Another two guys that have been given positive feedback, especially KK Knives, or not KK Knives. I keep saying that. It's K Knives Switzerland. Case is his, it's the name of the knife company. He's a custom knife maker. If you already don't know, I'm sure all of you do, because anybody that's here probably follows Super Steel Steve, and he's done a video on him. If you don't know about him, I would definitely suggest going over to his channel. He's basically doing similar stuff that Triple B is doing. So 14C28N. The nice thing about it is already I've got a new bevel with 220 grit scratches. So there you can see it. And then this is the old bevel on the other side. So this 220 grit, it's not a soaking stone, but I do give it like a quick soak. Maybe I'll run it underwater for maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, and then now like it's not soaking in. If I did this fresh and didn't soak or run it underwater for a little bit, it would dry out in like 5 seconds. And I can feel a burr all the way up to about here, so I just have to work this tip a little bit longer. You guys should be able to hear this now. And that's the burr. So at this point, I'm going to go back to the first side. And we're going to move the burr to that side and then back to the other side. And just like that, the burr flipped. You'll be able to hear it. And that was along the whole edge. And we'll go back to the other side. And now you'll be able to hear it again. So at this point, I'm just going to do some light stropping. And the burr is in, it's actually hovering this right, well, this is my right side, so the pocket clip side, it's actually favoring that side a little bit. Alright, now we're gonna take the 220 out, rinse it. We're gonna take out the 320 grit. And now this 320 grit is different from your standard 320 because I've cut an inch off of it. You guys probably, if you've seen the video, you guys will probably remember that I have a 1-inch edge pro stone that I made, and this is what's left, so it's about 2 inches by 8 inches. Alright, so we'll start with the first side again. Okay. And at this point, I can feel that the burr has flipped, and you'll probably be able to hear it. It is a little bit, it's a little bit lighter now than it was on the 220. You know, it's a little bit thinner. And the burr is flipped again. And you want to be careful when you have, like, the higher you go with grits, especially when you're new at it, you can run the risk of crushing the apex. And as you get finer and finer, you want to lessen your pressure. I am going to just turn this. And then we're going to go back to that first side. The burr has flipped again. You should be able to hear it. It is much finer than it was when we got off the 220, and it's even a little bit finer than it was the first time on the 320. Now for 14C28N, I think today I'll probably just finish it like 1000 grit. I don't find it necessary to go really any finer than that. And then I'll probably strop like 3 and 2 micron, maybe 1, I'm not really sure. I'm not going to go like, crazy fine with it. I'm not going to go hair whittling. I just don't find it necessary with that steel. It doesn't hold, it'll get a fine apex. It takes a keen edge. I just don't really find it necessary for what I'm doing with the knife. Alright, and I think the last stone we're going to use is the Sharpen Pro 1000. This is the Hano Kuramaku, which is the Japanese version. This is pretty much like a true splash and go. You don't have to let this soak like you do the other ones. Well, so let me clear that up. You don't have to let the 1000 or any of the other stones soak. But with the 220 and 320, I find that giving them just like a quick soak under running water for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes max helps them just retain the water. But I don't want that to be taken out of context. None of these are soaking stones. They're all splash and go stones. So don't soak them. You will get cracks and have issues with them. They're not made to be soaked. There are specific stones that are made to be soaked, and that's for another video. Go to our original side. Let me actually just show you guys what the 320 looks like. It's a nice edge. It polishes, the 320 polishes a lot like the Sharpen Glass 500, just a little bit more dull than that, but not a whole lot different. Alright, and we'll go back to the other side. Or not back to the other side, but now we'll go to the other side. Alright, and we have moved the burr to the other side all the way. Now the 1000, it's going to be tricky to hear it. Hopefully the mic will pick it up. It's pretty fine at this point. And then now we're just going to go back to the other side. The first side that we started with. flipped. And now we'll go back to the other side. One thing I really like about these stones is they're pretty quick. I mean, 14C28N is a softer steel, and I'm kind of taking my time on this, but it's getting a pretty nice edge. Alright, now I'm going to rinse this off, and we're just going to do some light stropping. Alright, and we're done with the 1000. Here's where I'm wondering if I should go up to 2. Alright guys, so I think we are going to go to the 2000 grit. We'll get a nicer polish, and then it'll be a little bit easier to deburr too, since we'll we'll refine it a little bit more. And if you're freehand sharpening, you have to always keep in mind, your bevels are never going to look as good as you get with a fixed angle sharpener or, like a mechanical sharpener. Unless you're like incredibly good, you're always going to get a little bit of micro convexity. Alright, I think I'm going to call it there with the 2000. And I'm going to grab a 3 micron horsehide strop, and we're going to strop this guy and see how we get for sharpness. It's cotton paper towel after the 3 micron, and you can see it's very clean. There's like no snags. I'll probably just hit the 3 micron a couple more times. Go ahead and wipe the blade again. And then we'll move on to the 2 micron. So the first one was 3 micron chef knives to go emulsion. And then this is 2 micron Ken Schwartz CBN emulsion. Yeah, this thing is pretty crispy. And it's got a nice polish now too. That the 3 micron, made it a little bit polished, but that 2 micron CBN just took it. The Ken Schwartz 2 micron CBN honestly polishes as nicely as the cheaper chef knives to go 1 micron diamond spray. The Ken Schwartz stuff is expensive, don't get me wrong, but I personally think it's worth every penny, and I think it's the best stuff for me. It's the best stuff I can find, and I'll just do like a quick shave test, I guess, but this thing is pretty sharp. You can see now I got a bald patch here. You can see right here, the hair is gone. You know, you can continue if you want to 1 micron and half micron, but I think this is a pretty good stopping point for what this is for a work knife. Like the dreaded magazine paper cut. And you can see how clean this is. No snags. It was and we got clean cuts all the way through, and that's a good test. You know, there's a million ways you can test your knives for sharpness, but that's just one way to do it. And if you could shave hair, you pretty much know your knife is sharp, but you know, there's tons of tests out there. If you could whittle hair, then you know you're a damn good sharpener, especially freehand. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks for coming along for the ride. This is the Ruike P801 14C28N. Sharpened from 220 all the way up to 2000. And then we went 3 micron chef knives to go and 2 micron CBN Ken Schwartz emulsion. So you can kind of expect to get a good edge with what I just did. I hope more guys are sharpening out there, freehand especially. I think it's one of the best ways to go, just because you know, no matter what the knife shape is, you have little restriction when you freehand sharpen. That's going to do it for this video though, guys. Again, thanks for coming along. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.